Hi, I'm Dima Sharif.
And I'm Sandra Boros.
I'm the founder of DS Consulting Club and the Grow Pro Shop.
And I'm the founder of Sandy's Kitchen.
And this is From Scratch to Success. The new trends that we see on social media and everywhere we look are all pushing for fast money, get rich fast, get all the followers that you want, like all of this growth. Shows like Shark Tank, like people who are looking for investments, it's all about seeding and investments and rounds and growth. And this was especially true in the past, say, 3-4 years. I find that a lot of entrepreneurs go into business either thinking that the only model is growth model, or going into business with a growth model because they think that is the best way to get rich fast.
Yep.
And it's a big problem. It's a big problem because, one, not all concepts are growth model concepts. Not all of them are fit for growth models. And there is another option out there, actually, a very good option for small businesses. When I met Sandra, for the first day we sat together, I asked her, what is your model? What is your business model? What are you after? And actually, I'm going to let her say the story.
Actually, I didn't know. So I wanted to know. I definitely wanted to be growth. Growth in the sense that I'm going to sell this company in 5 years for $10 million, $10 billion, you know? And you made me pause and think if that is something I actually wanted. And you at the time explained to me, okay, you want growth, it means you have to do this. And those two went hand in hand. Now, today I know that we are a lifestyle brand. But it took me a year of soul searching and of thinking and of, I don't know, like digging deep into myself and figuring out what I wanted. And some people helped me discover it on the way too.
Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to say don't go for growth. Growth business, it's a business model that's good, of course. If your concept is a growth model concept, some concepts, first of all, cannot work as growth. And some concepts are better off as lifestyle. Now, when we say growth, of course, every business has to grow and every business has to succeed. But growth models is a totally different thing. A growth model is based on the concept, for example, opening branches everywhere and franchising, and it's all about the production becomes scaled massively. This is the kind of model that we're talking about. Sandra was telling me when we first sat together, she said she didn't know what is the business model. And then when I started asking her, like, how are you seeing this business growing? How are you seeing, where do you want to take it? And she said, I want to open a branch in almost every street at that point. And she said that she wants it to be available everywhere. She wants huge production for the cookies. The one thing that I had noticed while we were talking is that she wanted what everybody's promoting as successful business. However, that's not the only way a business is successful. You can have just one branch and be an extremely successful business. Through the questions, I was able to tell that Sandra didn't know that growth is a way to run a business. Because when you're doing a growth business, what you are doing is you're basically creating a business able to grow that way.
Designed.
Purposefully. And then running that business, making decisions for that business is completely different from the choices of lifestyle. How did you find out that it's lifestyle that you want actually?
Well, actually, other than meeting you, I met with a couple of people in the industry and consultants along the way. And whenever they would give me tips about saying like, your name is wrong, or why are you operating from here? And like they would tell me things, and they would tell me specifically things that they thought I should change if I was going to grow in the way that they thought I should. And I was so reluctant to make those changes. I'm so reluctant to, for example, change my name and rebrand as like the McDonald's of cookies, let's say, you know what I mean? And it really touched me personally, and everybody would come out saying, you're too attached, like you're too attached to what you already have, and you are standing in the way of the growth of your own business. But this is where I realized, I mean, speaking with this one guy who had all the best intentions in the world, taught me more about myself than about, like, he thought I should change a name and do this and do that, and I was convinced for a while, and then I went back and I'm like, but that's not what I want. I opened this purposefully and in a way that I want, and I'm reluctant to turn this into a production line. I'm reluctant to not bake on demand, for example. I'm reluctant to use less quality products. I am, and that growth model that he at the time was suggesting, it was something very different from what I want. And today, Dima, I promise, I'm telling the truth right now, I would rather close than do something I'm not comfortable with.
So you guys, you see, here's the thing. Growth business is a business that is going to be sold, either in part or in whole, eventually. How do we say sold in part? Like, what do I mean when I say that? At the end of the day, you're going to go for rounds of investment. Every round, you're selling a part of your company. Because that is what growth is about. Growth is about bringing in investor money to create a bigger operation, to scale the business bigger. And then every time you're going to have to sell. Selling is not just in shares. You're selling in shares, you're selling in concept, you're selling in things that were non-negotiable to you at some point. Now, growth is not a bad thing. I'm not framing it as a bad thing. I'm just saying that you need to early on decide whether or not you're building a lifestyle concept business model or a growth business model. Because if you're building growth, like Sandra said, you cannot be so attached to any element in your business. The idea of growth is you're gonna take this business from this size, this scale, to a completely different size and scale. And there are things you need to compromise when you want to take it to that kind of scale. For example, Sandra was telling me that she didn't want to compromise on the quality of the cookies she was making, and to move into mass production. Mass production is a completely different story. There's no one touching that cookie. There's that cookie, it's like ingredients go into a machine and they come out as packaged cookies, and she didn't want to change into that. So if you're like Sandra and you're someone who's passionate about the concept, passionate about the idea, passionate about the production itself, passionate about the steps, if you're someone who's thinking that the company philosophy is touching on core values that are non-negotiable, then this is more of a lifestyle concept. However, Sandra and I also had a discussion about lifestyle. That lifestyle doesn't mean small business staying as small, tiny business. You're able to scale.
You're able to scale, you're able to grow, you're able to achieve everything you wanted to achieve, but maybe do it your way. Is that a good way of saying it? I don't know. It's just that when you're a lifestyle brand, and it really took me some time, like, I just want to tell everybody watching that it's okay. I mean, Dima is saying that you need to figure it out probably before you start. I am not the textbook example, but I did figure it out along the way. I wish I knew from the start, because it would have saved me the agony at some point. But when I knew, it was more smooth sailing for me.
Right.
But it took people trying to take away things from me for me to say, no, I don't want to.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong.
You're right.
I don't want people to misunderstand me. There's nothing wrong with being either. Whatever you're doing is great. You're building something at the end of the day. But for us, at least, it is definitely, it falls into lifestyle.
Yeah. The purpose behind doing this show is actually to show you that there is a way, but most importantly, that there is a better way. If you are someone who already started your business and you're already going in the growth direction, the lifestyle direction, whichever direction, it's okay. It doesn't mean that you cannot actually think about this and make the decision now. However, the better way of doing things is before you start, deciding on the concept is detrimental, because the whole business is going to be built on it. If you're building for growth, then you're going to have to start considering that from day one. For example, you need to have your financial documentation from day one to actually appeal to buyers and to investors. If you're a lifestyle business, there's a little bit more way for trial and error and, trying this and trying that. It's very different, and that's why I am always advocating that you do this work before you start. However, have you started already and you're not sure? And if this episode is making you think, what am I, growth, lifestyle, then don't worry about it. We are here to help. And even if you want to go alone, just think, how much are you willing to compromise? How much are you able to let go of? And
I want to ask you something. Sorry. Is it okay to be a lifestyle brand and say, wake up one day and say, I want to become a growth brand? Is the move easy and doable?
Look, it is okay. Yes, at any stage you can change. The whole business can restructure, you can change. Is it doable? Yes, it's doable. It's going to take a lot of adjusting. Here's the thing, just because I wake up one day and decide to change the business model doesn't mean it's going to work straight away. It requires a little bit of patience and some work. Some work needs to be done for the business to start becoming appealing for growth oriented investors. That said, lifestyle businesses do not mean you cannot grow, you cannot bring investors on board, but you will be approaching a different kind of investor. Not the investor that Sandra was talking about, who's saying, okay, you need to change this, you need to change the name, you need to change the operation, some input is always going to be in, even for lifestyle. However, the place where you need to compromise more, I would say, is in growth models.
Yeah.